Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast courtesy of Popluck. You can find more episodes of Spoiler Force Podcast on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube, or on Facebook at facebook.com/popluckpodcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Supryze, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast.
This is episode 37 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. So this episode is quite the surprise because the guest I have here, I actually was able to get him within, or book him within like 2 weeks, which is actually pretty short time for myself because usually I book my guests within like 3 weeks to a month ahead of time. But I'm glad that he's been able to do this with me. You may know his music from his Pov Pob video and his Ching Got Tho video as well. He is a Midwest rapper in the Hmong community. Let me introduce my guest here, Supryze. Thank you for making time to be on the podcast, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me, Ricky. People reaching out to me for interviews, I don't really get much of that, so I'm actually pretty excited for this.
You've had quite the year, really. You had the big hit back in last August, and that was like your big summer hit. So one of my cousins was actually like really into your music, so I looked back into like all of your, I guess, your older videos and tried to see like what you were doing before you had your music explosion. So I do want to just do a quick few things here before we get started. I want to thank Baymong and LP for letting me use their tracks for my podcast as well. And if you live in the Michigan area, specifically the Boyne City area, which is near like Gaylord or Traverse City, make sure you guys check out Indochina Gardens. That's a great restaurant to go to. I've been there plenty of times. It's a great environment there, a great atmosphere, great service there, and the food is overall very excellent. So make sure that you guys check them out. Sue, right? That's your actual name, not just Supryze.
Yep. Sue Bang, yep.
Okay, so Sue, like, is your name Supryze? I guess obviously it's a play on with your name there. And prior to that, though, again, I mentioned that I watched some of your older videos when you were much younger. Definitely more baby face for sure because you didn't have the facial hair for sure.
Right, yeah.
But you were going by like like I forgot, was it Young Sue? Was that what it was?
Yeah, Young Sue, because during that time there was a lot of mainstream artists or a lot of well-known artists who went by Young, in front of their name, like Young Jeezy,
Right, and Young Jock and those guys.
Yeah, Young Jock. Yeah, a lot of well-known artists at the time had Young in front of them. So I don't know. It wasn't really original, but
No, I think it's a great
came
way
up with
to.
Young Sue.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great that you started off like that too because this shows like where your inspirations actually like started from and how you started in music. And I think like some of your videos, like some of the oldest ones was like way back, like 12 years ago, 2008, which is, I mean, when you think about it now, it's been so long. It was like just before social media was like blowing up,
Yeah, that was at the very beginning of YouTube too. So
And I'm pretty sure you get this a lot. Obviously, with your last name, you are Hmong, but do you often get like mix-ups with like being Filipino or like Vietnamese sometimes and stuff like that?
Yeah, my whole life pretty much. Even though I went to a high school that was like, I want to say 80% Hmong. But everybody's always asking me like, hey, what's your ethnicity? Or are you Hmong? And then a lot of time people like they speak Hmong about me in front of me, not knowing that I'm Hmong, but I'm just there listening.
Yeah, I got that a lot growing up too, because I still get that now because a lot of people think I'm like either like Mexican or some sort of Hispanic, and like late or early last year I figured out I was like a quarter Lao, so I was like, no wonder people assumed that I wasn't Hmong. That's probably why.
Yeah, you're a little darker too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm definitely more on the darker side.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually so my dad was 1/4 Lao. And that makes us. Oh, that makes me 1/8 Lao. It's a very small portion, but I don't know. I feel like it's a very strong gene. That's where I get my distant look from.
I can relate to that for sure. Because like the thing is too, like with my family, we never knew that we were like part Lao. My mom recently found this out from one of our like aunties up in Minnesota, and like she was telling us that she's like, yeah, your grandpa was, he's not really Hmong, and that's why he got a lot of
Hmm.
like hate and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, so this makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. Okay.
But you're from Minnesota, right?
Yep. St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now. So.
Because I figured, because when earlier when I first messaged you, you mentioned that you listened to the Van Brooks episode, and shout out to Van Brooks too. And
Yeah.
he was telling me, like, after I posted up the promotional photo, he was telling me that, yeah, man, I know Sue and Lieutenant Jaddy, like I hang out with them sometimes. So I thought it was really cool that you
Yeah.
listened to the episode too. So thank you for that. Um,
Yeah. No. I actually didn't know about that at all until DC posted it like maybe like a month ago or something. And then so I just searched it up on the Apple podcast app, and then I found the episode. So I was like just listening to it. I'm like, I know this guy.
Again, man, that was
Hmm.
awesome. I was like, all right, so he listens
Hmm.
to some of my content, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So we can start off with something like that. But yeah, man, back to
Hmm.
like just back to like your ethnicity and everything, because when I first saw your videos, I'm like, damn, he looks like like Joseph Vincent mixed with like Lil Craze. Like he kind of has that distinct look.
Hmm.
So obviously, I was like, all right, so he's definitely a standout artist for sure. And entertainment media, they try not to use looks, but that's definitely a huge part of like being a musician or an entertainer, is definitely your look, because if you don't have a certain look, it's going to be hard to draw in like the mainstream type crowds. And definitely you have like that presence of like the older YouTube days of like Timothy De La Ghetto and Dumbfounded and those guys.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Look does have a lot to do with like marketing yourself. Um, you gotta have a certain look to you that's gonna be appealing to the audience and stuff.
I know that, again, we touched up on the fact that you were doing music since like '08, and you've been pursuing music then as well. So what kind of just helped inspired you to be a musician?
Um, just pretty much everything. Everything that happens around me. My friends and family, just life experience. What's going on what they show in the media. When people listen to my music, I think one thing that they can take away from every song that I do is I try to have a positive message. And so every song I try to have like, there's a message that you could take away. And the reason why I do that is because, there's so much negativity going on right now in the world. And so, um, just why not just give in a little positivity, and make someone's day.
That makes sense, because
Uh-huh.
again, because you want to spread a different message than what, I guess you could say, what mainstream media does. And like mainstream media, they only give out what, I guess, the normal audience would want, which is like drug pushing, gang violence, and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And a lot of this is,
Yeah.
I find this in common with a lot of like independent artists too. Like they all kind of just have this same goal, really, to express their who they are as a person, their experiences, like kind of like how older rap music was originally. It was always about the struggle. It was always about, this is what I overcame, and this is what I'm doing now. And I
Hmm.
guess that message is kind of like dimmed out versus, again, like today's stuff. And it's not even about, really, it's not even about the message anymore. It's about like your beat. If you got a good
Yeah, no.
if you got a good producer, if you got a catchy little hook and a good producer, you can. I mean, look at 6ix9ine. He's the perfect example for that. Within less than 2 years, he's made tons of money, and then now he's known as the biggest snitch, and he still got a
Yeah,
record deal after getting out of
right.
jail. So,
Yeah.
for my opinion, I think it's sad to see that that's where music's gone to now. But I mean, it's
Hmm.
what it is. It's what the media wants. It's what the audience wants. I mean, whatever he's doing, that's all him. But again, to your music, I think you have this
Hmm.
this nostalgic feel to it too. Just like with your Pov Pob music, your setting was in the video was at the New Year. You talk about like just like the things that Hmong people go through typically every New Year. You brought that into the light, where we ball with the female, or vice versa, with a female and a male. Like that was a way for like Hmong people to communicate with each other back in the day too, and that was something that a lot of people looked forward to back in like the Thailand, Laos days. And I mean, I'm not too expert on the Hmong community stuff. I feel like that's
Hmm.
what you brought up. That's kind of like resonates with a lot of older folks and with the younger folks. It made it look kind of cool again to ball with people again, because like when I was growing up,
Hmm.
that was something that I was I never would have done that. But then with your
Hmm.
song coming up, I was like, why not just try it? Because that's been in the
Yeah.
that's been in the Hmong
uh,
community for so long, you know.
yeah. Uh, that's awesome, and that's that's one of my main goal with my music too. It's just to um like inspire people to you know just to look at especially the Hmong culture because there's so much beauty and so much art and rich history and tradition that we kind of like take for granted, and it's always there, but we don't really pay too much attention to it. It's not going to be there forever, And so with Pov Pob and like Baltas being such a big role in how people met each other and how they like court each other back in the days. You're probably not going to do that now, Like now it's just for fun and hanging out with your friend at the New Year and like playing ball toss and stuff. But like still, it's still such a big part of our culture, and if we don't cherish it, is it's gonna disappear.
Yeah,
And
that's a big part of our
mhm,
history, you know.
mhm,
From going from your YouTube days till now, and like I said,
mhm.
when we talked about the remixes that you did when you were still younger, you did verses with like, I guess like with mainstream songs. You did like the Selena Gomez remix, and
Yeah.
there was one that I liked. It was with Coldplay, the
Oh,
Scientist. He
okay.
did a remix. I
Yeah.
listened to that one. I like that one. That was pretty good. And is that how you kind of just first started? Then you just like wrote
Um.
like verses with music with the mainstream songs, or were you already writing beforehand?
Well, let's see. I've been writing and rapping, like just like studying rap ever since I want to say 2005. So it's been 15 years. It's been a little over 15 years now since I first started writing, Um, and that's when, so I don't know, I was just bored and I just kind of picked up, like, I was bored. So, what I did most of the day was, like, especially on my summer break and like during like school breaks was, I just kind of sat by the radio and then listened to every song that came on. And whichever song I like, I would just take a pen and paper and then try to write down the lyrics that I was hearing, And I guess that's how it all started, how I started like dissecting how songs were written and how songs were made. And then like after a while, I was just like, um, you know what? Like it's not that it's not that hard, I mean, it is hard to write a good song, but just to write a song that you could sing to over some music, it's not that hard. And so I guess that's how it all started. And really, it wasn't even for myself to learn how to write. It was just to write the lyrics down so that I could sing along to the song when it came on the radio, or like when it came on the bus and I could sing along so that, the other kids could be like, oh shit, this guy knows like every song or something. Kind of funny, but yeah,
And
that's
that
how it
remi-
started.
yeah,
Yeah.
that reminds me of like such like late '90s, like where because I remember my parents used to do that too. Like my mom especially, if there was like a song that she really liked, she would listen to the song and just write down the lyrics. Like that reminds me of that so much. And I used to try to do that too. I wasn't too much into the whole songwriting aspect. I did want to learn what the song was singing about because like if
Hmm.
you like a song, then you definitely want to be able to sing to it or even rap to it and
Yeah.
not like miss a
Hmm.
step because it's like when you're doing like a clapback at someone, if you stutter then everyone's gonna roast at you. So
Yeah.
so so I think that's pretty cool that you did that way back then and like '05. That's was writing something that kind of just when it came to writing your own music, was that something that came more naturally to you after just experimenting with that too?
Um, so I guess yeah, like writing kind of came naturally for me because I mean it's not like I just sit down every day and just write a song, It's like once in a while because at the time I wasn't really like trying to pursue music like that. It was just like a hobby. Like whenever I was bored, I'd just sit down and write something, Or but it was usually like whenever something tragic happened, like young heartbreaks. That was that was one of my main motivation when I was younger, like just writing like love songs and stuff. And just in like especially like before I even knew what love was, just like listening to love songs and then like imagining how like you want your relationship to be and then like just writing a fantasy. And then that's how songs kind of came. And then with like rhyming, I use the dictionary. I use um I'll just like search like rhymes. I mean at the time like the internet was like very young, but they had like these websites where you just like put in a word and it gave you like a whole list. And so it like just seeing like all those words that rhyme with each other, it just kind of like stuck in my brain. And then eventually it just it kind of came more naturally. Like I didn't really have to like research too much. I don't know, just kind of like write line by line and then try to stick on topic.
Talking about like writing on topic, I know like DC Reacts talked about like how you stick on topic with your songs in one of his reviews, and I that's what it staying on topic is actually a really good thing when it comes to writing, because like sometimes you when you write something, sometimes people do tend to go off topic, like they'll forget about what the main point was, and then they'll write off from, like, for example, like you were saying, heartbreak. So like if you write about heartbreak and then you kind of go off into something else about, like, for example, like a whole new relationship, like it goes way off to what you were actually
Yeah, no.
originally telling.
The reason why I say that, because like yeah, shout outs to DC for that reaction video. I appreciate it. Spreading the word on my music and stuff too. But yeah, staying on topic is definitely one of the main things that I always try to do when writing a song, because like there are a lot of songs out there where there's like two, three different topics in a song, and it's a little confusing, because like it's throwing you like mixed emotions. And so one main example that I could think of at the top of the head, it's a very popular song too. I can't remember exactly what the name is, but it's by the rapper Aviation. Um, it goes like, "You're the one that I want, the one that I need, the one that I gotta have just to succeed." You know that song?
It sounds familiar. I'm not thinking of it right now.
Okay, okay, no, it's cool, but it's a very popular song, especially around people our age. I don't know, all the Asian kids loved it. So, but one thing that I always confused me about that song is like at the beginning he's talking about like, oh, like, girl, you're the one that I want. You're everything to me. I would sacrifice this and this for you. But then in his second verse, and then it became like really negative. So like in the beginning, I think it sounded very positive because it was like he was writing a song for a girl. But then the second verse kind of came in and he's it just kind of turned kind of dark. That threw me off, and it never really made sense to me. But I don't know, talking about it now, it can make sense if you think about it as like it's like a movie
Yeah, it's like
where
it's more like storytelling, like
yeah.
when you first fall in love versus
Okay.
the downfall of it, and
Yeah.
then like the aftermath. And
Yeah.
to the listeners who know what surprises the song he's talking about, comment that, or like, or let us know what it is as well. I'll probably look it up later too, because it sounds so familiar to me. I can't grasp it. It definitely sounds like one of those Asian Town songs for sure that people were using on their profiles.
Yeah, definitely. Asian Town. Those were the days.
And were you promoting your music on that site as well back in the day?
Um, I think I was. I think on my page, I usually post like, oh, back when I was in high school, when I was like still making YouTube videos where I just like film myself rap a free verse over a song. I used to just post those on my page, and I probably posted it in like the forum threads. I never really got much attention, so I just kind of like did it for fun.
Yeah, the forums and
Yeah,
member of the day, all that stuff. Oh man, that brings back
yeah.
so much memories.
Those days were pretty fun. I was kind of sad that they kind of like the hype just died down. They kind of well something happened and then like I remember I lost like all my pictures that I saved on my page, and just like a bunch of accounts got shut down for some reason, and I don't know, everything just kind of shut down pretty much. Yeah, it's still there, but it's not the same anymore.
For sure about that, because like
Mhm.
I actually was using that site because back at that time I wasn't, apparently for my folks, I was not allowed to use MySpace because of the whole scare of like adults being predators and whatnot, which is still happening today.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also I used Asian Town because there was a lot of Hmong folks on there. So my
Mhm.
parents were like, all right, you can use that, Ricky, and just make sure you're safe and don't talk about too much on the internet and whatnot. Because that the internet's scary. It's
Oh yeah.
parents don't today, like the older folks, they still kind of get freaked out about the internet. I would go on Asian Town, like I tried so hard to be member of the day, and it just never happened once. But I stopped using it. I think before what you mentioned, like I remember like accounts were getting hacked and everything, and people were putting up
Mhm.
viruses on the forums and stuff. And
Oh yeah.
I left before all of that. I guess the shutdown happened, and I never used it since then.
Mhm.
Um, to kind of like just backtrack here, because to go back to like when you were writing your music, and you talk about experiences and stuff, and the things that you've gone through. You share about like a music, the music that you share with. You also featured, I guess, your brothers on the track too. Is that something that you did with them frequently?
Yeah. So if you guys know the singer Jason Tao.
I don't, but maybe some of our listeners do.
Okay. Well, yeah, well, he's my brother. I know I'm a Bang, he's a Tao, but he's my brother, and we grew up together, and we were both really into music too. And he kind of did his like singing thing, and I just kind of did the rap, But um, he came out with an album back in 2018, and well, anyway, yeah, backtracking. We've always been into music, and so here and there, like whenever I was doing a song and I needed a singer, like he was always the first person I thought of, like, oh, I should get Jason to sing this hook, I should get Jason to sing this chorus, or like, and then he does the same with me too. Like whenever he had a song who that was that he where he couldn't fill a verse, he was like, hey, there's a verse on this song, I can't come up with another one, so could you write a rap and you know like be featured on my song? And I was always like, yeah, for sure, and then like. And my other brothers, they rap too, but they don't, take it as serious. So, but here and there, like we'll all hop on a song and just for fun, and write a song together and just put it out there for our friends and family. But yeah, that's pretty much where I get all my like a lot of motivation from too, from my brothers, and seeing their successes in music, especially Jason, that motivated me a lot, especially when he came out with his album. Like that's when I thought to myself like, hey man, if he could do this, like I could do this too, you know?
Yeah, I think it's really good to have
Mhm.
someone that in the community too, like with the music industry. That way, you have someone who can kind of like guide you, I guess, into the entertainment media too. Because like it's harder to kind of just come up on your own. And from my experience, it is really difficult unless you know someone who has like a foot in the door. I think
Mhm.
that works really well too. And then you have the experience with like with your brother being a singer, you have the experience of
Mhm.
working with him, and then vice versa, he can work with like other rappers, and then you both figure out like what kind of style or what your taste in music is into. And it's just speaking of like artists that inspire you too, like I know you said your brothers inspire you, but are there any other, I guess, mainstream or even Hmong artists that inspire your style of music?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I like to say my style of music is kind of like like motivational rap, hip hop slash R&B. Like I know I don't sing, but a lot of R&B songs have rap in it anyway. So a lot of the time when I'm looking for beats or like some music to write to, I tend to look up R&B, Um, but let's see, artists that inspired me, like in my very early stage of, experiencing with music and like writing lyrics and stuff. One of the main a music group, they were a Hmong music group that was very popular back in the early 2000s. White Shadow, you know White Shadow?
Yep. If anyone doesn't know their big hit, that you are the one, then you're not Hmong,
Y-
because
Yep, yep.
everyone knows that song, and like it got to the point where to like my cousins were learning how to play that piano part in that song,
Okay.
and so like
Uh-huh.
it's so recognizable, and plus they put it in the Hmong dub of that Korean drama, The Autumn in My Heart. They
Oh yeah,
that
they did. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I you know what's funny? My parents still have the VHSs of that dub, and like
Okay.
it's so like that song is so iconic because like
Hmm.
it's actually a really good Hmong song from that group, and
Hmm.
from my opinion, I think that was their best song that they've made. I know they have other great hits too, but
Hmm.
I think that's what really made them stand out for sure. Like you knew that when you heard that beginning piano piece, you were like, "Yep, that's White Shadow." Like you knew that was them.
Yeah, no, they got some very classic songs. Speaking of White Shadow, they had a soundtrack and one of my favorite childhood movies. It's called Lo Ling, and it there's a one of those like he's the main actor in that movie. He's actually a like a government official now in Thailand.
Oh, that's
Um,
Lia's brother, right?
yeah, uh-huh, exactly. I can't remember his name, but yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the main actor, and he's just like a phenomenal actor, and like um, that movie is so sad, and it's just there's so many lessons in that movie that you can take away from, and like the cinematography and the action in there is like really realistic, and like as a kid watching that movie, like it just like amazed me, and especially with the soundtrack, with like White Shadow song in there too, like it made it way better too, and so that's what I remember about White Shadow. But the song that inspired me to like uh one of my big inspiration to like start writing rap was I can't remember the name of the song, but I know it was by White Shadow, and on some of the songs would have um they would have a rapper too, so one of their producers slash rapper, he would rap like a verse on the song, and it was very simple, just like about love and stuff. Like I remember one of the line was something like, it's probably not gonna be exact, but it's close to something like um uh I give you my love like a dove in the sky or something like that, and yeah, really simple. But then I remember when they had that album, I was like listening to the lyrics and I was like writing it. No, I wasn't writing it down. I was following along because they had the lyrics in the album cover. So I was just like following along and like trying to rap along to it. And um, like at first I couldn't really follow along because I was like, dang it, like ra rapping is so fast compared to like when you're following along to like us, like someone singing, and so like it was kind of hard for me to follow along. But then like I was just like practiced the whole day. I just practiced that verse the whole day, and then like by the end of the day, I was like, oh damn, finally got it, and then that's when I was like, hey, I I think I could write my own song, this is I can do this.
Was there any other I guess any other artists besides White Shadow, or was it just mostly like just
um
their music that helped inspire your style of music?
well, definitely like Rare, you know,
Okay.
Hmong Rare group. When I first heard their music, it was like it was like nothing I ever heard before, and it was like they took the Hmong language to another level. It's like it sounds so familiar, but then at the same time, it's like I don't really know how to describe it. But just as a little kid, like a little 12-year-old, and hearing like someone rap in Hmong for the first time, um, well, before that, definitely like Banjo. Banjo. I used to listen to a lot of Banjo.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah,
dad liked
I was younger
his
too.
stuff. Yeah, I always found his style like it was boho for sure, but it was more
Mhm.
comedic to me, like how he
Yeah,
was doing his
no,
storytelling.
he knew exactly what he was doing, cause like his storytelling was like very entertaining. It's funny, and like most of the time he's not even rhyming. Like it doesn't even sound like a song. It's just like him talking over a beat. But then it was still so fun to listen to.
He was very rhythmic with his style of
Hmm.
writing, which was definitely what made him stand out too as a Hmong artist, especially like you were saying. He didn't have to rhyme to make it sound good. Like how he was
Hmm.
saying it already was the flow of his style was already what stood out.
Hmm.
And again,
Hmm.
like he's incredibly comedic, and rest in peace to him because I know he passed away a few years ago.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's definitely a Hmong legend for sure in the Hmong community.
I recently heard a tribute. They made a tribute to Banjo. It's a really dope song, but I don't know why they never released it. I just like somebody. I saw some like a random person posted a link on someone status, and I clicked on it, and there was that song, and oh, it was Lady Luna and Taylor Vang, and so this rapper, I think he's one of the best rappers, best Hmong rappers, but he doesn't really have a lot of music out there. Um, I hope I'm saying his name right. It's like Kush Kush, but it's KSH, and he's on that song. And I don't know. When I heard the song, I was just like, "Dang, this is dope as fuck." You know? Oh, sorry. I don't know. Am I allowed to cuss
Yeah, you can swear on
in
the
your
podcast. It
the
doesn't.
podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. That's kind of random. Yeah.
No, that's a good that's a
Mhm.
good tangent you brought up too, because like again, man, like Bon Jovi, he's definitely a staple in the like Hmong community when it comes to like just Hmong lyrics. And now I honestly I've never heard of that, I guess that tribute. The link you
Mhm.
found, was that through like YouTube, or was it like an MP3 link?
Um. It, you know what? I can't really remember because it was on. uh, I don't even know how I got to it. That I was just scrolling down Facebook and I saw someone's status. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about Bonjour or something. And then somebody posted a link, and I was like, "What is this?" As I clicked on it, and yeah, as I was listening to it, it was one of Bonjour's song, but they like remade it into like more modern sound. And then the girls were singing, the singing parts, and then there was two guys rapping on it. It was
Okay,
pretty dope.
I'll definitely try
Yeah.
to look for that for
Hmm.
sure. That sounds interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
but to continue on too, it's just just talking about like styles of music, and I know you mentioned that your style, how you were describing your style was like R&B and rap and hip hop styled. But like when I was
Hmm.
listening to the sound of your style, like do you kind of just like pick out more of like the mellow beats, I guess, because like in Ching Got Tho, like that was definitely for sure a very like mellow, relaxed, like calm vibes kind of beat. And like the way how you
Hmm.
flow too, it definitely, like, it wasn't exactly reggae, but it was close to that kind of genre. Is that something that you're kind of pushing for with your genre of music, or is that, or do you kind of just like play around with beats that kind of match with your flow?
I can see where you get. I can see where you got that from because with like ball toss, like that beat is definitely very reggae style. But honestly, Lieutenant Jaddy was the one who picked out the beat, and so
Okay.
it just happened to be a really hot beat, and we made a song to it. And but I wouldn't say my style is reggae. I don't really know what my style is honestly, but
But there's definitely some
uh,
sort of like
uh,
reggae-ish inspired, I guess,
mhm,
parts to your sound. But I guess I don't know. For at least for me, when I'm listening to your music, that's what I kind of
mhm,
pick out. Like that. That's kind of like the sound
mhm,
that really kind of stands out to me. Some
mhm,
maybe other listeners
mhm,
find that differently, but for sure, like
mhm.
your flow and the style of music that you pick, they are standout songs. Like it's definitely something to where like that's a song by Supryze. It's not like where it's a very common like beat, or very common like tempo kind of song.
Yeah, I think that's one of my main goals too. It's just like trying to introduce like other genres to like Hmong music, because for a long time, people they were just kind of going after kind of like the same sound, and so I guess just kind of want to introduce other type of music and then try to make a Hmong song out of it, pretty much. So a lot of times when I'm picking out my beats, I try to go for something different, something that we haven't heard before. And if it turns out to be a reggae beat, then yeah, I might try to adjust my flow to that. So I think that's probably why sometimes it might sound like reggae style, but I don't know. I guess I don't really have a specific genre or beat that I just stick to right now. It's kind of all over the place.
And that's also a good thing too,
Hmm.
that you kind of adapt to different styles of music too. Because like if, for example, you did stick with the reggae style, like that's something you don't want to be
Hmm.
like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you don't want to be kind of just like I'm brain farting right now, but like you don't want to be just labeled as that genre. You want to be able to work with other styles of music and kind of make your art more standout-ish. It's something that it's easily, because you can easily just like fall back and just kind of like milk that kind of genre. You don't want to do that
Hmm.
as an artist for sure. And talking about like your ball toss song too, like that, the video itself is almost at 1 million views within less than 2 years. And
hmm
how does that feel to see that your art has like reached out that almost that far to 1 million views?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that um, I'm only featured on that song, so it's not really my song, but I will be. I know it's almost at a million views, and I I will share that success with Lieutenant Jaddy, and thanks to him for having me on the track because he came up with the whole idea of making a song about Pov Pob, and when he brought it up, I was like, whoa, really? Can we even do that? Because like it's never been done before, and I don't know. I was just thinking like, hey, like rapping about like going to the New Year's and the activities that go on around um like around that. Um, I don't know. I guess it was just kind of hard to like imagine a song like that, because there was never anything like that before. But um, as we started writing it, like I guess it was something that's so new and fresh that like everyone just kind of loved it.
I think it's
Um,
great that you both kind of
but
capitalized that
yeah,
theme, and
yeah.
because you guys get to kind of you guys do get the bragging rights to say like
Mhm,
because like
mhm,
a lot of Hmong artists. I'm pretty sure there's like older Hmong songs that do talk about like New Year's and stuff, but you and Lieutenant Jaddy get to get the bragging rights of like making it more mainstream styled, more a more modern
mhm,
style of that theme of Pov Pob. And like I think that was something that was really cool. Like what we were saying before, it's really cool to kind of just bring that part of the culture out and bringing it into the limelight like that for a lot of the younger youth that don't even know what that is sometimes. And to just carry on with that too, like to your song Ching Got Tho, that was the big song that you had last year. And for me, that I discovered that song through all of the like the promotion videos
mhm.
and like that song. What definitely caught my attention was the whole Street Fighter theme for sure. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
because I'm a huge Street Fighter fanatic. My
Mhm,
cousin introduced me to that game. But anyways, that song has what definitely made that song stand out was definitely that nostalgic. I like that nostalgic feel. Like your theme and how you rapped about like being young again, being a child again, playing games like with no worries. And then you had the feature with I believe K Ballin from Rhyme Records.
mhm.
He was on there
Yep.
too,
Mhm.
and shout out to him too because he killed his verse for sure. That's
Yeah. Shout outs to K Ballin.
yeah, because his verse was definitely it was great because like I can definitely feel his emotions through that verse.
Mhm.
But just can you talk about the process of just like how you wrote that song and how I guess how you guys were making the video too? Like how did that all just come to be and then up to like to where you guys released the actual video?
Yeah. I mean, if I was just talk about the whole process, it would be kind of long. But long story short, I write most of my song. I want to say maybe like 75% of my songs um on my drive to and from work. Because I work pretty far from where I live, like 25, 30 minutes, and with traffic sometimes it could drag on to like 45 minutes to an hour drive, and so it's kind of boring just sitting in traffic, and so um, a lot of times I just kind of play random beats on YouTube and then just kind of let it, let it autoplay, and so whatever beat come on, I'll just first try to like digest, take the beat in and see what kind of emotions I feel and like what kind of story I can paint in my head, and then try to take that and then turn it into words. And so I guess when I discovered the beat, so the beat in the song right now that we use for Ching Got Tho is not the original beat that I wrote to. It was a different beat, but when the beat came on, it was like a very playful beat, and it I guess what I pictured in my head was just like a flashback to like my childhood, and just like playing outside during the summertime on summer break, and just doing all these like uh kid stuff, and like running around and like sneaking out the house. Because like where I grew up, it was a pretty bad neighborhood, so my mom didn't really let us go outside that much, and so a lot of the time we snuck out just to like go play with the kids down the block. And so I thought about a lot of that, and then I guess when I was listening to the beat, um, this is very early on, so I even before I asked K Ballin to be on the song, I imagined him on the song already because I was like, dang, he would sound really good on this song. You know, I think his voice would really match it. Um, and because with K Ballin, like whenever I hear his voice, he has like that. I know he's a Midwest rapper, and but like his voice to me sounds like a lot of the Southern rap stuff that
Yeah,
I listened to
exactly.
growing
That's
up.
what I
You know,
was thinking too. Kind of has
uh,
like that southern trap style sound to
yep,
him.
yep, yep, and it just so I wrote this song like maybe during the fall of 2018, you know, like before we released Bottas. But just that summer 2018, I believe, K Ballin released a album, and so I was at J4 and I bought his album, and then um, my girlfriend was with me too, and then she like she just kind of like randomly told him like, oh, you know, Sue raps too, and then K Ballin was like, what you do? You sing? And I was like, oh, no, I rap sometimes, you know. And then I was kind of shy, but he was like, hey, bro, if you ever need help with anything, just let me know. You know, I'll do my best. I would try my best to help you out. And so, that meant a lot because like another artist that you know that was out there already, like reaching out to you and saying that he's willing to help you out and like treating you as an equal, even though you were a nobody yet, and like he didn't even know I rap until that minute, and then until that second, and then he was like, "Hey, I would try my best to help you out." I just thought it very genuine and it was very inspirational, and so I guess ever since that I was like, I gotta do a song with this guy. And then especially listening to his album that whole summer too, after buying it, just how he wrote his lyrics and his flow and everything, it was just so different. And that was very inspiring. And then finally when I discovered that song, I was like, man, I gotta get K Ballin in this song. Like at first I was gonna have him sing my hook. Cause I was like, his voice would be perfect. But then I told my producer, and then he was like, no, you can't let him sing it. If you let him sing it, you might as well get him the song. So, so I was like, okay, I'll try my best to sing it. So, I mean, we recorded it. It didn't sound too bad. So, and then I just had K Ballin hop on the second verse, and uh, yeah, backtracking a little bit. So, uh, I sent the ball when I sent the not the ball, thinking about ball toss, but no. When I sent the song to when I proposed the song to K Ballin, I actually sent it out to another rapper too. So this song was supposed to have three verses, and it's supposed to be like three different stages of life, from like three different perspective. And so the third rapper was actually not her.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I reached out to him too, and I sent him the beat and stuff. He responded. He responded pretty quickly. He was like, "Hey, yeah, I'll try to help you out, brother, but just to let you know, I am pretty busy because I got a song. I'm working on some music with other artists, and I got a song coming out with Jon Snow and stuff too. So I'll let you know. And then so yeah, I was waiting. Then K Ballin got back to me like a couple days later. He's like, oh yeah, I'm writing something to this right now. I should have it to you like next week. And I was like, oh shit, that's quick as hell. And then I was waiting for Naher, but like I sent him a few messages like, hey, I would still love to have you on this song if you're willing and stuff. But he was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm kind of busy, but you know, if I can't get if I can't get it back to you on time and you want to release it, go ahead and do it without me. So he let me know. So yeah, I don't know. I um I understand, he's a busy guy, family, and he had a lot of other music to work on too, so I didn't want to bother him too much. And then I just kind of, the song was pretty long, it's like almost 4 minutes already. So I was like, you know, it's okay if I don't have a third verse. So I just kind of went on without it, and I'm actually very happy with how it turned out. You know.
I think the finished project was actually really good. You had so much nostalgia in the video, like from the Street Fighter to just like having the little kids in the video, just like all hanging out, and it made a lot of the Hmong community like really like get into the song. You know, like they talk about like just the fishing days and not worrying about bills to pay, and
Hmm.
again like with K Ballin's verse, like I loved his lines where he's talking about like, you know, like it didn't matter if they were poor or not, they had a roof over their head, and
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Like I think that's what really resonated with a lot of Hmong folks growing up like that. You know, being in rough neighborhoods and, you know,
Hmm.
not worrying about what adulthood was like at the time. And I think that song itself was perfect. And you dropped it right when like it was right when all the summer songs were like slowly to start like coming down. You dropped that song and bam, it picked back up, and then everyone like it just I feel like after that song I feel like a lot of other artists were like, oh shit, we gotta like just start dropping music, because after that then you had like I believe Khalid Universe dropped another song after that, and then there was Sons of No Town, and then there was
Hmm.
KT too that dropped another song before the end of the year last
Yeah.
year. So it was
Uh-huh.
like hit after hit, and
Yeah.
I think that's what really made like a lot of artists like step up their games. And I've mentioned this on another episode before. I feel like with Hmong artists, man, like it's the end of last year or like the past 2 years, but especially with the end of last year, like everyone's
Hmm.
just really pushing for it now, and
Hmm.
I think that's a good wave to be riding on right now. And I think with for sure, like with you and other Hmong artists, like if there's a continuation of just dropping hits like that, I think there's gonna be some sort of breakthrough for sure. To go on, I know we're time is starting to run a little low here, so I'll try to get through these
Hmm.
last few questions for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I know you had features, and then you mentioned that you were a feature on you were the actual feature on the Pov Pob song, which I never knew. I thought you were actually like the main artist, but
Yeah.
you also had songs with like I bought Khalid Universe's most recent album. You were featured on there as well.
Hmm.
Are you planning to collaborate with any other artists, being a feature or having them feature on your song?
Yeah, there's so many people I wanna, link up with. Um, and like, every time I run into these other artists in person, like we always talk and like be like, hey, we got to do a song together and stuff, but then like when it really comes down to it, like everyone's so busy, especially with like music being um like a side hobby, like a side hustle almost. And like everybody has their, 9 to 5 jobs, there's only a few who does this 24/7, but um yeah, especially with working the day job and then doing this uh on my free time too, and like trying to balance that with like you know time with my family and friends and stuff too. It you really don't have that much time, and so you kind of have to make some sacrifices. And so like I understand when I'm trying to do a song with another artist and they can't get back to me as quickly, or like if someone's trying to do a song with me and I take like a couple weeks just to get back to them. Like I understand, like there's so many people that I want to link up with, and uh like the Rhyme Record guys, the like Hmong production guys, like, cause I bought all their albums and like they make really good music, and um definitely inspire like some of my own music too. So definitely people that I want to be on song with, or like to feature them or have them feature me, but definitely plans, a goal for the future to have some of those guys come on my song, um, or like to do music together with. But talking about like people, like those are guys that are like, are doing hip hop music, but talking about like people who does music very different from me, who I would like to collab with in the future. One would be Disu, Disu.
Yep, I'm actually
She,
working on
cause
to get her on the podcast too.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool because she's very popular right now. And like, I've been a fan ever since she did that song with Yasmi. Um,
Oh, like with her recent video,
it was
or was it
a couple years back.
was it like their first collaboration together? It was like
Yeah, I think so. Is
they sang a song about the Hmong guy or something like that.
Yeah, Link Thua.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So ever since that song, I was like, oh dang, this girl is really good. And then she came out with her album, and I bought it. And then like all her songs were just like very like playful and fun. and very positive too, which reminds me a lot about what I want to do with my music. Like spread the positivity and in a positive message. And so that's the main reason why I want to collab with her. And then someone who I recently got an album of is my Yebu.
Oh yeah, I heard
And
her one of
mhm,
her tracks. She's actually really good.
mhm.
She kind of reminds me of
No,
like
she is.
she reminds me of like
Mhm.
almost like Leona Lewis kind of. Like she's got like
Yeah.
that
hmm
very like low tone R&B
hmm
style. So yeah, she's
hmm
really good.
Yeah, and her style is like it's very positive, and like her music is like very playful, and like it just makes you want to dance too. And um yeah, I'm actually really loving her album right now. Like I listen to it like almost every other day driving to work. So I definitely want to link up with her and create something too. But yeah, just a few names. I mean, on my on a lot of my songs that are unreleased, I do have like other like pretty well known and like up and coming artists too. But I'm gonna wait until the drop to review that. So
All right.
mhm,
So that
mhm.
eliminates one of my questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but I don't want to dig into that if you don't want to reveal it yet. I'm not gonna
Okay.
pry on that, so that's
Okay.
fine.
Soon
Um,
though. Soon enough. Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely look forward to that for sure. And to
Mhm.
any of the listeners, like be on the lookout, man, because I know for sure, like with your talent and with the collaborations or whatever projects you have, I know it's gonna be fire. So
Thank you, man. I
definitely
appreciate it.
definitely take some time to listen to Supryze's next stuff and listen to his recent music now too. Okay, so my last question here for you before we wrap up, it's
Yeah.
just I know that you mentioned that you wanted to work with various artists, and
hmm
do you plan to kind of do you want to go mainstream?
I've thought about this time and time, like over and over again too. But I think my main goal is just to, you know, um, s stick to the Hmong community for now. Yeah, I say for now as if I have big plans, but no, I actually don't. It's just gonna be the Hmong community, because I feel like within a small community, that's where I can make a big impact. And just with what I've been doing already, just like trying to like advertise myself and like trying to spread like small messages like leading up until I release my album, which is um I don't know, I'm planning it for sometime within the next year or so, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get it done on time.
Would that be
I
your
don't know.
first album that you'll be dropping then,
It
or
it would be. It'll be my first album ever, because everything else I released or everything that people have heard so far are just singles and tracks that I've been featured on, or so I never had an EP or mixtape or album ever, so this will be my first. But yeah, I kind of want to just put it out there. That would be. I want to look at it like my big breakthrough, because I know I've been releasing music and like people always come up to me like, dude, real big, like everyone loves your music, but I'm like, I'm still keeping my eye on the big picture. Like the big picture is the album, and that's when I I would feel satisfied, like, oh, I finally got it done. So that's like my main goal right now is just like, pushing for that album. Um, my bad, I kind of forgot what your question was about.
oh no, that's you hit the point because like honestly,
Okay.
like hitting, I guess making that more of a long term goal. For
hmm
sure, and making the first album because I was gonna ask you like if you had any EPs or stuff like that, and you definitely
hmm
like answered that
Okay.
for me. But yeah,
Okay.
like just sticking with the Hmong community, there's nothing wrong with that too, man. Because like
hmm
I think what you said was great, man. Trying to make an impact on the community itself is something that's already a big goal, like, and it's definitely a more, I guess, a more humbling experience too. Like if you can make an impact on your own community, and then that way when you do that, it'll definitely make ripples to other communities and whatnot, and they'll definitely see your work ethic too. Um, yeah, man, because like I ask for the whole mainstream thing because like for sure with Hmong artists, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of Hmong artists who do want to go mainstream and be,
hmm
I guess, that first Hmong artist to break through. And I think with you and Kalia Universe and even David and Kid Swami, like there's a bunch of other artists who have that kind of potential to break through and to kind of be mainstream. So I definitely have you on that list to be a mainstream artist one day for sure. But if you want to stick with the community, that's great too. There's nothing wrong with
Mm-hmm.
that. And there's tons of support in the Hmong community. And I think back on my episode of LP, man, LP said the best. He's like, if they if they like your stuff, then they'll like and support your stuff, and that's what it really comes down
Mm-hmm.
to. But yeah, man, thank you for being on the podcast, man. And did you have any like last minute shout outs or any plugs that you wanted to just throw out there on the podcast for listeners to know?
Uh, oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like, I wouldn't be where I am now, or there wouldn't be a surprise if you know I didn't have all my support. So shout outs to my girlfriend who's always being supportive in my little music hobby, and shout outs to Lieutenant Jaddy for having me on that first breakthrough song, and shout out to my producer for hooking me up with the mixing and mastering. And yeah, shout outs to my family and everyone who took the time to sit down and listen to my song even once, or even they played it over 1,000 times. Or I just want to thank everybody out there who I have their support, and thank you. There's more coming, so don't think that like or that share is gonna go to waste. Because like I'll definitely pay you guys back with more. So thank you.
And you have any social media accounts for listeners to follow if they want to look up your stuff too?
Right now I'm only on Facebook, so Facebook and YouTube. I mean, YouTube I don't post too much. I'm trying to starting to post like maybe monthly or weekly videos on just like the process of like how I create songs and stuff. So hopefully soon on my YouTube, but on my Facebook, that's where you can get like all the updates of like where my next gig is gonna be, or like up and coming upcoming songs and projects, or like collaborations, or things like that. So oh yeah, my Facebook is Supryze Music, and then I'm also Supryze Music on YouTube too. So yeah, Supryze Music. Follow those pages on YouTube and Facebook.
All right, that's perfect, man. And for
Okay.
our listeners, I'll have the links in the descriptions on like my social media platform, so you guys can definitely follow Super Ice for sure, and stay supporting of his music, man. Like I said, dude. Like to me, honestly, I feel like you're gonna be one of the few that can be a breakthrough artist for sure. Um, and also, just before we wrap up again, I do want to let
Hmm.
listeners know too that next Sunday my next episode will be with Treasure Moore, who's also a singer from California. So stay on the lookout
Hmm.
for that. And then yeah, so thank you again, Surprise. And man, this has been a very great experience to just know who you are as a person too, and to have listeners just understand where you're coming from with your music and what you're planning to do. So again, thank you for your time, and thank you for being on the podcast, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you, Ricky, for giving me this platform to just kind of express myself and talk nonsense. But yeah, thank you for having me, and I look forward to more of your projects.
All right, man. So thank you for listening, guys. This is episode 37. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.
Peace out.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, comment, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. For comments, questions, concerns, and criticism, you can email Spoiler Force Podcast at popluckpodcast, POPLUCK PODCAST or contact me personally on Instagram.com/RickyVang92, RICKYVANG92.